Happy New Year's, Minties. This is the Uncanny Omar, and we're going to kick off this 2020 with an advanced look at 3 books from Marvel Comics. We're going to look at Star Wars Forever Crimson, it's part of their Legends line, Absolute Carnage in trade paperback, and Black Widow. So, please stay tuned. And as always, I'd like to thank David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel, like Michael Breen, for sending us advanced copies of these books. So the first one we're going to look at is this Star Wars Forever Crimson. It is part of their Legends line, and that's part of their classic stories. So let's take a look at it. So let's look at it. The book retails for $19.99. I've always loved this cover to Star Wars 50, which is collected in here. Here are all the other Epic collections. This is the original Marvel years, and that's when this takes place. As a matter of fact, all of this, with the exception of the one big book that is this cover, issue 108, is collected in the Marvel Omnibus of the Star Wars universe, or collected in these Epic collections, which are a great way of collecting Star Wars, in case you cannot find said omnibus. Here is the table of contents, what all is included in here. And we're kicking it off with Archie Goodwin and Walter Simonson's creation right here. So pretty much this collection is the story of this guy right here, Valance. He is a bounty hunter. He has ties to the Imperial Army. He has ties to Han Solo. By the way, this here is one of my favorite characters. This is Jackson. He was created, oh my gosh, who was it? Oh, I can't even remember. It was early on in the issues of Star Wars comics, but that's why I really was drawn to the character of Bucky O'Hare, because he looked so much like Jackson. But anyway, Valance is a bounty hunter and he hates droids. So I can't give away what all his secrets are here, but I think some of the covers may spoil it. But just in case you're wondering, this collects Star Wars 16, 27, 29, and 50, and then the big deal is Star Wars 108, which was never been collected anywhere because it's a brand new book. Now, just a little brief history. Star Wars comics were taking place right after the first movie, when it was just known as Star Wars, not Star Wars A New Hope. So around 1978 is when they first started coming out. Marvel started making them, and they made them all the way up until 1986, issue 107 being the last one. So, to celebrate the 80th anniversary of Marvel Comics, Marvel decided to print this issue right here, issue 108. Like I said, 107 being the last one in 1986. So this was a big deal. This was a return to classic Star Wars comics. Now, of course, Archie Goodwin had passed away many years ago. So this particular story is written by Matthew Rosenberg. And it's got Luke Ross on art. It's got several artists. It's got the return of Jackson. It's a really cool collection. And it is the only way to own 108, because I don't think they're going to stick it at the end of the epics. But I could be wrong, because I don't have those yet. So, correct me if I am wrong. Now, let's look at the extras in the back, because you know I love talking about extras. So, here are some variant covers. Michael Golden, John Tyler Christopher. Love seeing Jackson on those covers. Remember when I said the covers may spoil his secret? Well, yeah, sorry. And then celebrating Marvel's comics for Star Wars comics. So, this is a really cool history of the 80s and Marvel Comics. There's the final issue, 107. By the way, this book has 152 pages. And this and this one comes out on January 22nd. So the other 2 books will come. Oh, this is really cool. It's Star Wars 50 art by Al Williamson. And there is my favorite freaking cover from Star Wars. I've always loved that. I used to have that as a kid. I'm sure you've heard about this one. This is the wonderful event called Absolute Carnage. Drawn by Ryan Stegman, J.P. Mayer, Frank Martin doing the colors, by the way, which adds a lot. And of course, last but not least, it is Donny Cates' story, who has been writing Venom, and he's been doing a kick-ass job of writing Venom. And this is the very first crossover event that he got to work on. And this is Absolute Carnage. It is the return of Cletus Cassidy. It is the return of the Carnage symbiote. And he is a lot darker and scarier than he's ever been. And that has a lot to do with the art and the freaking red tone colors and creepy dark scenes. Now, this book is 200 pages. It is $29.99. It collects the 5-issue miniseries Absolute Carnage and the free comic book day, what was it, Venom and Spider-Man from 2019. So that's all it collects. It doesn't collect the tie-in events. We know there's going to be an omnibus later on in the year. So, but if you're collecting them in trade paperback, this is the trade paperback to get if you're a huge Spider-Man fan. Just look at that. That is crazy. Like I said, with these overviews, I don't like to do reviews of the book, but damn if it wasn't one of my favorite crossover events of 2019. It was phenomenal. And the artwork alone should sell you on this book. Now, let's look at some extras here in the back. The book is 200 pages. I can't even remember if I just said that or not because I'm just blown away by that artwork again. So, for the extras, we start off with Absolute Carnage. It's pretty interesting. Oh, this is the stuff that was collected in the first issue. So, it's the Ravencroft. It's the Institute for the Criminally Insane. This is the behavioral assessment report on Cletus Cassidy, who is the host for Carnage right here. Woody Harrelson in the movie universe, I'm sure. Anyway, not a movie review. Here are some variant covers. Of course, there's a ton of these. Some get a full page. Some, oh, that's gorgeous. That's Gabriel del Otto. And then some get smaller Cult of Carnage covers. Oh, Israel Silva. There's some gorgeous art here. I've always been a fan of that one. Aaron Cooters. So cool. And then the toy ones back here. Oh, Mark Bagley. That's a classic. Man, some great covers. And if you are wondering about a spoiler-filled review of the first issue, I'll leave that link up above where you can find it. I did do a review of that. Look how creepy that picture is. Damn, that is so good. Next up is Black Widow. That's right, we're kicking off the first day of the year with Black Widow. And by the way, I did want to add that both of these books are due out on January 8th, and Star Wars Forever Crimson is due out on the 22nd. I guarantee this is not going to be the only Black Widow book you see in here. But this is one of my favorite ones because this is around the time that I started getting heavily back into comic books. It is written by Richard Morgan and drawn by Bill Sienkiewicz. Bill Sienkiewicz did the finishes for all of this. And I say finishes because Goran Parlov did the layouts for the first miniseries, and then the legendary Sean Phillips did the layouts for the second miniseries, which is known as The Things They Say About Her. So the first miniseries came out in 2004. And man, it was such a kick-ass series. You finally got to see Natasha just be by herself and be this kick-ass assassin. By the way, that's one thing I do want to say about this. It is parental advisory, so keep that in mind. The book is $34.99. It is 288 pages, and then I'll jump back into the story a little bit. And as you can see from here, it is a lot thicker than your average trade paperback. It's not labeled as a complete collection. It is just labeled as the Welcome to the Game trade paperback. And it is one of my favorite Black Widow stories. Because honestly, Black Widow was just one of these side characters that never really got to shine. And she had been gone away for a long time. As a matter of fact, even when New Avengers kicked off, she wasn't even there. Natasha wasn't even physically there. A lot of the covers are provided by Greg Land, by the way. But let me just show you this. This is what sucked me in. Within the first couple of pages, I was like, oh, we got dead bodies. We got violence. We got Natasha not waking up next to some dude. She's by herself. And it really established the character more for me. And of course, later on, we had Mark Waid's run. We had a lot of other awesome Black Widow stories that they are going to collect in trade paperback because we have this movie coming out, I think in March sometime. But anyway, the first miniseries is 6 issues long. It's a wonderful miniseries. And then the second miniseries, also 6 issues long, written by Morgan. Like I said, the layouts are done by Sean Phillips. This is I think the only time these two big powerhouses have worked together. You have Sean Phillips on layout, Bill Sienkiewicz, I know I'm probably butchering his name and I never learned to say it, on the finishes, but I mean, it looks like his artwork. And there are some scenes in here, some psychedelic panels that you're like, okay, that's Bill Sienkiewicz. But anyway, let's look at the extras here in the back. because I don't like spoiling what happens in the story. So we have Epic Collections coming out. Here is, oh, this is just the cover art to issue 3. Interesting. That's the only thing they have. I think back then they didn't have that many variants, believe it or not. They stopped making variants, and here is another collected edition, No Restraints Play. And that was the contents of each book. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you're picking up. And remember, you can pick these up from cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. Cheap Graphic Novels Black Friday sale is continuing all through December, so there's still time to save up to 95% off thousands of books. Additional books will be added throughout the month, so be sure to check back often and stay tuned to CGN on social media to be the first to know when the new books have been added to the sale. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. Please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button, and notifications button to let you know when our videos are going up. If you enjoy the content of this channel, please think about joining our Patreon, and thank you to our existing patrons. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be 2020. Ha! Threw something a little different in there for you all that stay all the way to the end. God bless you people.